Doesn't matter. Win's a win, baby. All right, into the podcast. All right, here we go. So, folks, we're talking NFC North today.
Definitely
we
not
got
college football 25.
we got the Packers. My man Aaron Jones, always a Packer, never a Viking. Don't trust what you read, folks.
I hope he has the best year of his career
He
this
will
year.
fumble the ball away in a critical moment in that game because he owes his allegiance to the Cheesehead land. Now, all right, moving on. Packers, Vikings, Lions, and Bears. That's who we're talking about today. Notice I put Packers first because that's where they belong. All right.
We'll probably vote on that in the very near future.
I bet you lose.
Well, I mean, if I'm got my fantasy analyst
That's a
hat
bet,
on,
man.
it's Lions. If I'm betting, if I put money on things, Lions are number one. I think Packers are number two. Bears are number three, and Vikings are four. That's what I believe.
In a distant four, I think.
They got some growing to do.
I don't think the Bears and the Vikings are that separate. I don't think the Vikings or Bears are good, but like this number one overall pick coming into a good situation in Chicago that seems to be the narrative. Kind of seems a little off because we're still talking about Chicago. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because nobody would shut the fuck up about Justin Fields when he was coming in. Not the same situation, but the quarterback-wise it is. And that turned out how we all know it turned out. So
and I'm sick of acting like Chicago's anything better than Cleveland.
But those weapons.
If Caleb Williams is actually who he is purported to be as the number one,
you better be Andrew Luck.
Well, all I'm trying to say is if he's actually good, they have the supporting cast around him to do it. They have running back depth. They have three guys. Okay, none of them spectacular, but they got three solid guys. They got Roshan, Khalil, and DeAndre. And I think everybody's sleeping on their defense because they sucked at the beginning of last year. You look at the back half of last year's numbers, that defense got a hell of a lot better. And
I'm sleeping on the coaching.
Yeah, that's what I'm sleeping on too.
He almost won Coach of the Year last year because of what he did with that defense towards the end of the year. They had a chance. You forget the Bears had a chance to make the playoffs. If they would have beat the Packers the last week of the season, the Bears I think would have been in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
And so you're saying they had a chance to beat the Packers and they couldn't to get the playoffs?
Well, we only beat them 14-7. I mean, it was a close game. Like their defense was good. They played well that week.
I think they have a plus defense. I think they'll be better at quarterback halfway through the season.
I could see Caleb Williams having an Anthony Richard-esque effect on a team without the injury, and I think that's good enough with the weapons around him to make him distantly better than the Vikings.
I think they're closer to the Packers than they are to the Vikings, as much as it pains me to say that, because Chicago's the most hated one in this division, let's be real.
I think they're closer to the Vikings than the Packers.
I disagree, and the reason being is because you got to remember it's very likely, based on the reports I'm hearing coming out of Vikings land, that the head coach up there, that Jake got booted down to Jacksonville in our dynasty.
Made the Super Bowl.
Franchise.
Made the Super Bowl.
Anyway, got fired the first year because he didn't know how to keep his players rested. But anyway, we'll move on.
The Super Bowl.
Justin Jefferson played 5 snaps in the closing weeks of the year.
That was infuriating. Why didn't nobody tell me there was a practice system?
Oh, God.
It wasn't a new system. It was not a new system.
It was brand new to me.
It was not a new system.
Brand new to me.
I did it for like 4 years. But anyway, the talk is that Sam Darnold is going to open the season for them because if you look at the Vikings' first 6 games, it's brutal. They have a terrible schedule.
JJ should not be playing in that first quarter of the season.
And you're telling me you're going to trust Sam Darnold and that dog shit defense?
It's the only team in the division that has giant question marks at quarterback entering the season. I mean, outside of the fact of what's Caleb Williams going to do.
Yeah, that's actually giant. I mean, he's the number 1 overall pick. Not to say like
question mark for who they're
starting. That's a huge question mark, right? Because I mean, but the draft all in on you put in that. Yeah.
But they're all in on him. They're not all in on JJ McCarthy.
There's no question. There's no question at quarterback there. Sam Darnold's going to be the starter because JJ McCarthy's not ready yet. I mean, that's not questionable. JJ McCarthy's the future. They don't have a roster to get him there yet. So don't get him murdered.
They don't have a roster to put him there, but the Bears.
That's not a question.
But the Bears do.
Hawkinson's out till probably at least week 6. Okay, that's probably where we see JJ come back, week 6, week 7. That's where he takes over. When Hawkinson comes back and is healthy. Jordan Addison probably missing the first 4 games because of his DUI. Okay. So you got Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones trying to carry this offense with Sam Darnold and nothing on defense. Danielle Hunter.
Well, they're not.
They have no pass rush.
They're not here to win a division this year. This is a 2-year squad, but I think Chicago's a 2-year squad. And they're not going to threaten to win the division like Green Bay is. And so that's why they're closer to Minnesota than they are to Green Bay. Chicago's not winning that division. Green Bay might. They won't, but they might.
I would
if
not
the Bears
bet on
won
them
it, I wouldn't. If the Bears finished ahead of the Packers, I wouldn't be that surprised. If the Packers pull back from the hype they got at the end of last season and they've been riding into this one, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Would you be really surprised if Chicago finished 4th?
I would be more surprised than if they finished 2nd.
I'd be, agreed. Exactly. But not by a huge margin, but it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I marked them closer.
But Detroit's going to win the division.
Yeah, they're the best.
And Minnesota's coming in last.
Yeah.
I think
clearly.
I'd take the field.
Okay. Anyway,
let's solve Chicago.
Let's talk about the Lions, okay? Because they're the number 1, right?
Talk about the
running it back with the same squad. Nailed it in last year's draft. I mean, how many great rookies did they bring in?
I mean,
Brian Branch.
CJ gone. They're going with Brian Branch instead of CJ. He's back to Philly.
Brian Branch is fantastic, though.
I think Brian Branch is fantastic, too. But, I mean, that's a big playmaker in that secondary who's not going to be there anymore.
That's fair, but they got everybody else. They got Hutch up front. They got the Savage in the middle, who we love to hate. They got Aleem McNeil, who's a great The defense is ready to go. The offense, they re-signed both the anchors on the ends. They have the best young center in the league. They have 2 great running backs. They have a top 5 wide receiver. They have Deep J-Mo ready to take flight. They have the best
top 5 tight end. Yeah, like
they're ready to
maybe
go.
The best offensive lineman in the league too. Like,
yeah,
if you're gonna pull it off in Detroit, here we are. All you got to do is trade for Matt Stafford, and you'll win a Super Bowl.
I mean, to me, it's them and San Fran. You know, those are the favorites in the NFC this year. I think they're the most solid teams.
I think that's accurate. That's weird. Yeah. Detroit top 2.
And Detroit, you know what Detroit did too was they came into the draft this year, and if I remember right, they jumped in front of us and took a great corner that I really wanted the Packers to take. They jumped right in front of us, took them.
Because they need a secondary. Like they've seen it happen somewhere.
It's weird. Before. It's like fiction, it's like reality imitating fiction.
Who's that defensive tackle they signed to? Who was the exact same one I signed out of Cincinnati?
Remember. But yeah, it was weird. It was weird what they did and how close it was to what you did. But well, I mean, it's not that weird, right? Because those holes
it's not.
And they filled them too the same way. So,
but every time you see a GM not fill the obvious holes, you're like, well, they must know more than I do because they're getting paid millions of dollars to do it, and I'm not.
Well, and what explained it to me for the Packers, just a quick aside on the cornerback thing, is that did not realize that they were high on Eric Stokes and the fact that he was going to be back and healthy. So they do have 2 solid corners, and Eric Stokes was a high draft pick. So that's why they weren't taking corners and they're focusing on safety. But anyway, we're talking about the Lions. Jared Goff, if you wait on quarterback, one of my favorite quarterbacks to take if you wait on quarterback. He's running at like QB 15, 16 right now. If you look at his splits when he plays in a dome versus him playing outside, it is massive. The guy balls out in the dome. He does not play well outside. He's only playing outside 3 games the entire season. 2 of them are outside of fantasy relevance. So literally 2 weeks of the year, the bye, and 1 other week, he's playing a dome every other game. He's got a great offensive line, great sporting running game. Get you some Jared Goff.
They're going to score 31 a game.
Yeah, they're going to be great, man. Barring they're going to be great.
Yeah, you can get him in the 9th round.
Everyone who takes a quarterback in the first 6 rounds, I'm just going to laugh at this year. It just every episode that we do, it sounds like we're talking about a different guy who, like, don't worry about it. You'll have someone who's just fine.
You have Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and Matt Stafford just chilling there, giving you 15 points a week, like it's waking up and having a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like So there's no reason to go nuts at quarterback unless you got a guy you really want and he falls to you. But
it seems like a good season landscape to have like two quarterbacks in that range and play the matchup, stream them like you would do a defense sometimes.
You can really stack your team up top if you bank on that strategy. It's not a bad way to do it. I got a couple guys I like in the top 8, but I'm not going to reach on them. If there's other guys there.
If you're not drafted a quarterback until the 9th round, you've got a starter at every position before you ever have to mess with the quarterback. So you can
and good ones.
Ideally take a quarterback in the 9th and the 10th and would really bat an eye at
it. Yep, absolutely. Jahmyr Gibbs, for moving to running backs, explosive, but still in a timeshare. I don't really like his price. I think he's great, but he has to finish at his ceiling to match the price that he's going at. Because he's going as like the RB4. Right, he's like RB4. Okay. He's right behind Breece Hall.
I like RB8
or RB5. He's not going to make it that far.
I'm seeing RB6 so high. And a half PPR.
Yeah, either way, 4 through
That's
6.
So high.
Right between Saquon and Kyren Williams.
I would rather have Saquon. He's not in nearly as much of a.
I'd rather have Saquon, but like I'd rather have Gibbs than Williams.
So this is interesting. On the ADP for Fantasy Pros, the 4, 5, 6 running backs are inverted on the overall rankings. So Gibbs is he's a 6th running back, but he's a 10th overall. Jonathan Taylor is the 4th running back, but the 12th overall. That does not make sense to me.
That does not make sense.
Well, they're talking about the overall, like off the board. So the wide receivers are in front of them. Is that what you're meaning? Like, what are you talking?
But the running backs flip as well. Oh well, it's probably just a misnomer. It's not that important. It's saying that Breece Hall is the number 2 overall running back, but the number 6 overall player.
Okay.
Yep, that makes sense.
But Bijan is the number 3 running back behind him on the running back list, but the number 5 overall, so he's ahead.
That doesn't.
None of that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there.
I don't like it.
They got a rookie.
I won't talk about it anymore.
They got a rookie in there writing up the rankings list.
Yeah, you got a name for that list. Like that's their whole business. Come on.
Probably they're not writing articles.
That should be a paid
numbers.
Come on.
Yeah, but anyway, that aside, obviously a fantastic player. You don't really see a rookie come in and have the success that he had, and then have their workload diminish. But how much is it really going to grow with how good David Montgomery was inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5-yard line last year? I think you're still going to see Montgomery. He's the bigger back. He scored a lot of touchdowns, did not show that he doesn't deserve that role. And he's still contracted through the entire year. And I bet they give him another 1 or 2 year contract after this year, because why wouldn't you? With how what running backs cost. As long as he finishes the year healthy. So I think what you're most likely going to see is a 60-40. The best case would be like a 70-30 in favor of Gibbs, which is still, if you want him to finish at RB4, he's got to do a lot with them touches, with that type of workload. So I don't really like that for how expensive he is when the other guys are getting everything,
Yeah.
So
somebody in our league is going to put off drafting running backs so long that David Montgomery is going to be flirting with an RB1 territory for them. I just know it's going to be the case.
That guy's going to be me. No.
No way you do it to yourself again, right?
We'll see what happens. I got some other guys. We're gonna do some things.
Like I don't feel about David Montgomery as we felt about Alexander Madison last year. So like I want to preface that. Like I don't feel like it's that egregious.
I got hosed because
man.
I got hosed because of my public views and Todd knowing who I liked. That's what happened. But
there's that.
Here we are again,
the way
filming
that
our
public views.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever.
I think any of us have the awareness to slide anybody here. Like I don't think there's anyone
Todd's
being
not
dishonest
watching
here,
our
right?
podcast.
No, he's not.
No,
he didn't last year. He didn't last year.
But he's in the Dynasty chat, and I'm very open with my views in there too. So that's how we found out.
No one. Every time that you text in a group chat, Patrick, no one listens. I want you to know that, and that probably goes into your Dynasty league as well.
No, they absolutely do because I've won twice.
They
do. I'm the best one there.
Trust me.
My phone vibrates once. I go, ooh, I got a text. It vibrates twice. I go, ooh, it's probably one of the group chats. It vibrates 3 times. Patrick is halfway through his thoughts.
I don't have a text log on my phone with Patrick's name on it that doesn't say hide alerts. Every single one of them. I can't do it.
Hey, dude.
I can't do it.
Guess what? We ain't changing. We'll be 92, still doing the same
I
way.
want to ask you to.
And I can respect that.
I can't.
While I shit on it at the same time.
Go ahead, man. We ain't changing.
I can't. I tried. I gave it an effort to respect it. Couldn't do it.
That's fine. You don't need to respect me, but you will love me. No, anyway.
I do love you. I do love you.
You love me.
Yeah, that's
Say
right.
it.
Mike Tyson
No.
style.
Don't say it.
Anyway,
You can't do that. You can't do
David Montgomery, great. I think he could flirt with RB2 status again. I do think he's going to lose a little bit of work because of how explosive Gibbs is. Still really solid as your second or third running back. I think he's going to have great touchdown equity because he's going to get those carries inside the 5-yard line. So he's a guy, because of how many chances he's going to get at scoring a touchdown every week, that you can rely on. He's going to be a solid RB2, solid flex. Nothing wrong with taking him as like the 20th running back off the board versus Zamir White or Najee Harris or somebody like that, you know?
That's good. Hey, that's a really good comparison. I want to know how you guys feel. Najee Harris, David
Montgomery all day, no question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wilson?
Point flip. Don't care. Don't want
really?
either one. I don't really want either one.
I got Montgomery quite a bit.
Better system, better offensive line.
David Montgomery or Ramondre Stevenson.
Montgomery, because the Patriots are not going to score more than 15 a game.
Good point. Yeah, 31 points on the board for one team and 6 points on the board for the other.
David Montgomery or James Conner.
I might like James Conner a bit more because I think that offense is going to be good and have to shoot out.
And I got weapons. He's
a starter.
And you have not been seeing. I was a little worried about Trey Benson.
James Conner.
A little worried about Trey Benson. I have not heard anything out of camp that's saying that Trey Benson's going to do anything to James Conner being the starter. So I think James Conner is going to have it. You know what I mean?
Get damp. Get into the running back room in Detroit. I immediately just
Cody's getting wet. Cody's getting wet over here.
Yeah, dude. Just wait till you get to that wide receiver room. Ooh.
I think it's time.
Let's move on.
I think it's time.
Amon-Ra, no brainer. He's locked in for me. Top 4 wide receiver. Not going to laugh at you if you take him in front of Jamar Chase if you don't want to have a risky player, because Amon-Ra is as safe as they come.
I like Amon-Ra more than Jamar Chase. I think he's going to be on the field 16 out of 17 games.
In a half PPR league, man, I've sat at enough tables and bars with you last year, Cody, to watch how much fun it is to have Amon-Ra St. Brown on your team and to watch him play, because they just catch. Ooh, 1.5. Ooh, 3 points. Ooh, touchdown.
The man is the guy who kills you by 1,000 cuts. That's Amon-Ra.
It's true.
Game.
Well, and he had if you guys remember, he had the first touchdown of the league last year in Kansas City. And man, what a way to start off. Like, that's why you need Zay Flowers on your team this year, so that he gets that first touchdown in Kansas City.
There you go.
Started off hot.
Zay Flowers is a very similar type of player. Not quite as athletic. He's a little bit quicker. Amon-Ra is a more polished player at this point, obviously.
Less balls to go around in Baltimore, though.
Yeah, because they're going to run so much. But Detroit runs the ball too.
I haven't seen Amon-Ra make a whole lot of mental gaffes. I've seen a handful of Zay just in the last few games of the season. So
yeah, it's true. He went out kind of hard, but dude, Amon-Ra is solid. Amon-Ra is just unbreakable.
Personality-wise, a guy like Amon-Ra is the type of player you want to put your chips in on a fantasy, because that man is a dog. Absolute dog.
There's recently on my TikTok, I saw an interview with him. Well, they were talking about, like, I think they were talking about weed and pills and like staying healthy in the league. And he was talking about how he doesn't like to take a lot of the traditional sort of like, pain management drugs that have been around the league for a while, just because he doesn't believe in it, what it does to his body. He wants to stay around longer. And he said, except Green Bay week. He's like, give me the drugs that week because we're going. I'm like,
love that. That's a dog right there.
That team, like that team wants Green Bay every time, man. I love it. I love the rivalry that's there.
You could get rid of somebody. What was his name? Jameson Williams. Is that the running back? that was a real character? I forget.
Jameson Williams. What?
Not Jameson Williams. There was
J-Mo.
the one that
he's
got
in New
all the
Orleans
touchdowns
right
that year.
Ricky?
He's in
Ricky
New Orleans.
Williams?
No, the one that got
he's in
all
New
the
Orleans
touchdowns
right now.
Jamal.
for Detroit. Jamal Williams. He was the character. He was the personality on that team, and he left. And I feel like Amon-Ra stepped into that, man. People
100%.
want to rally behind that guy.
Yeah.
Watching the receiver documentary and watching that guy jump up and scream every time when he jumps up and says, when he makes a big catch, he jumps up, he flexes on him and says, I fucking do this. And then he's yelling at him. He walks back, gets another catch like play later. Dude.
I'm getting sweatier. I can feel there are droplets going down my left side right now.
It's a fantastic player.
I gotta get him on my team again. I gotta get him on my team again. I hope I hope I'm late in the draft so that like I'm not reaching Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 5 overall.
I don't think you can be sad about reaching on him because he has just as much potential to finish in the top 2 as anybody. You know,
it's true. It's true.
Speaking of top 2,
but I can get him like number 8, so I'd like to.
A lot of hype around. Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
I was just going to say Jameson Williams, as we know him, Deep J-Mo. He's not the guy that's going to bring you the ADP in the top 10, but realistically, he could far exceed.
He could win you a league.
Yeah.
Because you pick him up, you pick him up like Cooper Kupp status in the fucking 4th round, and everyone's like, oh, that might be good.
He's the guy, if you know, you know. If you don't, you're like, who the hell is this guy? Where the hell did he come from? Mm-hmm. That's the main reason he's where is he on the ADP? He's the wide receiver 50.
Okay, so a couple things about Jameson Williams. Year 3, okay, got sidetracked by the betting scandal, okay, and the suspension that he had because of that. Number 2, tore his ACL at the end of his college career, was not ready to go when he got drafted. Sometimes it can take guys 2 years to come back full speed from an ACL tear. They're ready to go a year later. Are they really ready to go, though? Are they really at top-notch athleticism? Maybe not. We're in year 3. All the reports out of camp and offseason have been glowing. They need a deep threat on this team. It's the next thing that they need. He's blazing fast, absolute monster in college. Loved him coming into the league. It's Deep J-Mo time.
Last player news out on him was about 2 weeks ago from camp, and it said early standout. Said they suggested that Williams is expected to take on a bigger role. And is likely to remain the primary deep threat for the Lions offense.
I cannot wait. I hope it's as good as we've
How do you double cover him? You can't double cover him because you double cover him, Amon-Ra is going to eat your lunch, and so is Laporta. So it's perfectly set up on a platter for this man to go full Will Fuller on the NFL this year and start tearing the roof off. And to me, he's a better receiver than Will Fuller ever was. Will Fuller just had wheels. This guy's an actual wide receiver. It could run routes.
And this team's confident, man. It's the intangibles, too, the start of season. This team knows that they are poised to make a run, and they're going to come out hungry.
Everybody's back. They knew they should have been in the Super Bowl last year, and they pissed it away. They're going to come out for blood. I think you better watch out for Detroit this year because they're going to be good.
They did piss it away in that championship game. I was so disappointed.
Yeah,
It was like watching my own team lose. It really was. It felt so bad. You're like, stop doing this. Stop doing this. You're gonna let them win.
San Francisco, San Fran deserved to be there just as much as the Lions did, but you wanted it to be the Lions because of the history, right? You know, and because of Dan Campbell, you know, and everything else. But anyway, Samsung,
is there a third receiver? Is there a third receiver that we need to cover before we get out of this
worth
room? I don't feel like there is. If J-Mo's going all the way wide receiver 50,
their wide receiver 3 is Khalif Raymond.
Yeah, you don't need him. If one of them gets hurt, sure. Yeah. Otherwise, no. He's a waiver wire guy.
Got it.
Samsung Laporta, as Cody likes to call him, otherwise known as Sam Laporta. He is.
It's weird hearing his regular name.
Number 1 tight end.
Consensus number 1 tight end. Taking Travis Kelce's crown.
Only because Kelce's a sandbagger.
Because he has to be because he's old.
Yeah, I'm not claiming he's doing something artificially or, you know.
Sure. I mean, to his credit, he's sandbagging and still the number 2 tight end. But you're right.
Yeah. It's because could easily be the number 1. Like
he could fall his way. If there was a fantasy football like if that meant shit to those people, then
Well, or it's just as easy to say that you have Hollywood and Xavier Worthy tearing the roof off the defense, and he's open all day long underneath. So it's very possible because they got some guys in Kansas City this year, but
they got some guys in Detroit.
He got hooked up in the hype of the Taylor Swift too and was traveling around and all this shit. I think he's found a groove with that. I think he's back to business this year.
It seems like that based on what he said.
You think he had a worse year because of that?
I don't know that it was a huge, but I mean, yeah, I think you get locked up in something like that as big as it was. I think absolutely it takes your mind off.
Do you remember the numbers that Tony Romo was putting up when he was stroking?
Sure, well, that's a different guy at a different time. And Carrie Underwood has never been Taylor Swift. Carrie
Underwood is fantastic.
Oh, sorry, that was a different episode. Either one.
I can't.
Was you saying Jessica Simpson has been Taylor Swift?
No, I'm just saying, like, you forget Tony Romo's like thing. Come on, dog. Where you been?
Who cares? I'm surprised you're bringing it up. You're the one that wanted to put it to the curb. You brought it up.
It
was last year. You brought up something from 15 years ago.
That's my quarterback.
You want to talk about Terrell Owens while we're at it? There we go.
Yes, I do.
No, moving on. Sam Laporta.
I'm wet on both sides.
Anyway, this guy is out of control over here talking about Detroit. Sam Laporta, tight end number 1, too rich for my blood. Not doing it. There's other guys behind him.
Where's the earliest you'd take him? Would you take him anywhere in the 3rd round?
No. Unless I'm pick 12. Maybe the back, but still, I don't like it. I got other guys I want. And I can easily come back on a Kyle Pitts.
If I got a top flight running back and a top flight receiver, and I'm sitting on the backside of round number 3, Sam Laporta seems just fine. As long as one of my top flights aren't Jahmyr Gibbs or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
To me, because there's finally some depth at tight end this year, okay, seemingly, it's not as much of an advantage as it used to be to get like the top guy. Okay. I don't think there's going to be that much of a gap between Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid. There's going to be a gap.
I do believe huge. I do, and I just happen to believe that Sam Laporta is going to be the one. I don't think it's 1 through 5 and then a gap. I think it's Sam Laporta 2 through 5 and then the gap.
I don't think that gap is big enough to justify the price. That's what I think.
You might be right.
But, I mean, you get Sam Laporta, are you going to be sad? Absolutely not. You just might not have as much depth.
And keeping in mind depth, we are adding an extra flex position. So, I mean, the counter argument is that tight end can be used as a flex. So, but still, you're going to want more depth at other positions, most likely.
You are. And also, if you're at the end of that 3rd, that means you're kind of right around again with another pick. Like if you got, let's say you're the 11, right? And you don't have the 12 cap and Sam Laporta is sitting there. I'm like, I think I'm taking Sam Laporta, and then I'm just dealing with missing the next 2 because I don't want to pick that 1 and then miss Sam on that bookend.
Keep in mind that his ADP right now on a half PPR is 25 overall. So he's going as the first pick of the 3rd round.
Yeah,
on average.
Not doing it. Because there's so many other good wide receivers there. You have Mike Evans, DK Metcalf. Sometimes Brandon Ayuk is sitting there because of the trade rumors.
Yeah, let's look at the overall. He's sitting right after Olave and sitting around the Deebo Samuel's kind of.
You can't take him that high. No. You just can't.
No, not going to do it.
Think anyone Marley will?
Yeah, I think there'll be enough people that have whatever stock sheet we put in front of them that didn't bring their own.
I think Travis
will get there and go, "Oh, he's the next best available." That's possible.
I think Travis Kelce goes before Laporta in our draft.
I think you're going to see Strozzi try to get him again because of riding that train last year. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. But we'll see what happens. That does happen a lot in our league. If you get one of the hot breakouts, they try to get him gung-ho next year, too.
It just makes you feel good. It's the same reason I want Amon-Ra St. Brown on my team. Makes you feel good.
I'd love to have Lamar again. It was a fun ride. But anyhow, let's pull out of Detroit and head into Cheesehead Land, folks. Let's do it. Green Bay.
I mean, do we really think Green Bay is the number 2?
Absolutely.
I think the money's on it, but I don't want to say it out loud in front of Patrick.
$55 million riding on one man named Love's back. Hopefully he's worth it. I don't know if he's worth that amount of money.
So much money for Jordan Love.
How much?
Not as much as they paid Tua. $55 million.
Tua is better than Jordan Love.
Absolutely not. Anyway, Tua is not statistically. He wasn't the better quarterback in any regard other than total passing yards.
I think both quarterbacks have really good coaches. That's what I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so too. I think they
I
are
don't like
talented
saying that about
prospects.
Matt LaFleur.
He's a good coach.
I just don't trust French people, honestly.
Anyway, Jordan Love. Cram it in your cram hole, LaFleur. Anyway, so Jordan Love, he's like hovering around QB 10. I think he's a fine quarterback. If you're waiting again, he has a lot of upside. He has a lot of risk. He hasn't proven it for that long.
He's not getting drafted.
Showed it in a major way.
He's getting drafted.
Definitely getting drafted.
He's getting drafted.
By anyone. Drafted? You think he's worth a top 12?
100%.
He's ADP in his QB9, which is like in starter range, and there's going to be backup quarterbacks drafted in our league.
He won't end up there.
He was literally the QB1 for half the season last year.
There's 2 or 3 Packers fans in our league.
Now there's tape on him.
There's 0. Yeah. Oh no, because Bailey's out. There's 1 Packer fan.
You're just salty.
Bailey doesn't know who Jordan Love is.
She's not in the league anymore.
She's not in the league. Doesn't matter. Also, you're just salty because he roasted the shit out of your boy.
I am. Yeah, anyway, I am. Dog.
Tore you guys to pieces. Now, anyway.
It happened to my team, too, and I'm over here saying he's going to be drafted, so we're not all built the same.
I know. Anyway, he's a good quarterback. Not a lot of rushing upside, but he has a very talented crew of young pass catchers and 2 tight ends that had solid rookie seasons and are now in year 2. And you bring in Josh Jacobs to take the load off in the running game. So I think they're going to have a solid offense. The rest of the industry, the rest of the NFL seems to think so too. Their offense is like a top half of the league offense, usually within the top 12. I think they're going to put up numbers.
I think Jordan Love just set the Packers back 4 years by signing that contract. I think this is the beginning of them cradling down to the bottom.
$10 says they win more games than Dallas.
Why 10, pussy?
Yeah, why
$10? $10.
50?
No, 10. Most I'll go is
you don't really believe it then?
$100.
$20.
$100.
$20.
$300.
$5.
$500?
$5. I'm gonna go lower. You keep asking me. $20 high as you're getting.
Okay, you get 20.
All right.
I want 100.
$20. That's what we're doing. Anyway, car sales a little light right now. Anyway,
doesn't matter. They're gonna win more, right?
$20. Anyway, moving on to the running backs. Let's talk about as Jake reels it in. Josh Jacobs. Don't like it. Don't want any part of it. Will not be on my team. Matt LaFleur
because of his
on one running back.
Because of his ADP, or you think that he'll have a poor year fantasy wise?
I did not see it out of Josh Jacobs last year. He had one of his worst statistical years. Did not break tackles. He's a broken tackle, yards after contact guy. Looks like it was not great last year. Now, could he be better in Green Bay with a better team around him? Potentially.
But do you remember what he did the year before last? He was, I think, the RB1.
We can't start looking. We cannot start looking at running backs 2 years ago because of like how they break down, dog.
Sure, but he is also only 26, so it's a little bit more reasonable. No, nothing 3 years ago. He hasn't done anything in 4.
Yeah, but still.
You heard him saying.
The point is, the big point to me is not that I don't think Josh Jacobs is talented, and I don't think that in real life, am I happy the Packers went out and got him? Yeah, because I think he's solid running back. I think we have 3 guys that can play. A.J. Dillon, not so much, but I like Marshawn Lloyd. I just don't think the Packers under Matt LaFleur have ever fully committed to one running back. It hasn't happened. It was always Aaron Jones and Jabal Williams, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Okay, there's never one guy that's taken 80% plus of the carries.
AJ Dillon is hot.
LaFleur wasn't there.
Garbage now, and he's not even going to get any touches. I think I could see a Josh Jacobs workhorse kind of year. I think that the coaching situation with the Raiders last year was part of the reason why he was as worthless as he was. But he went from 1,700 yards to 800 yards in a season. I think there's going to be return to the mean on that.
I don't. I think he's gotten older, and I think the 800 is a lot closer to what he's available for.
You say older. He is only 26, though.
I know, but he's a running back.
25.
He's a running back, but we all know 30 is the number usually. It doesn't always make it there.
30's the ceiling.
30's the cliff that you fall off, and I'm saying he's 4 years away from it, which means we've been talking about running backs and
30's the wall
in previous episodes with 28 and 29-year-old running backs saying, "Oh, he's poised for one more year." This guy could have 3.
The consensus typically in like dynasty league fantasy is that when a running back passes the 25-year-old mark, they're on the back 9 because that's how it works from running backs. You get the first 3, that's they're hot and loaded, ready to go. If you got a freak guy like Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry, they can run that out a little longer.
And those are anecdotal, and it's important to remember that.
He may be on the back 9, but he's on a whole 10.
800 yards last year doesn't say that.
As a Packers fan, I hope you're right. As a fantasy player, I have drafted none of Josh Jacobs. I'm willing to be wrong on Josh Jacobs. I hope that I am as a Packers fan. Hope he comes out and destroys everybody.
Will not be on my team.
Yeah, I think I'm over bullish on him compared to most. I could see him bouncing back to 1,100 yards. And
you had him during his RB1 season, didn't you?
Yeah, but I watched him last year too.
Yeah,
I had him for half of it. Remember, I traded for him.
Gave him a championship. Just let that be known. Anyway, so anyhow.
He's good enough to win a championship, baby.
Yeah,
do it again. 2 years ago.
Championship. Literally needed a miraculous run in the last week of the regular season to get you there by the skin of your teeth.
So
but anyway,
amazing. So that was God. That's what fantasy seasons are made of, right there.
Fantasy legend.
Love to see
50-yard overtime run to give me the one win I needed to get the spot.
Moment.
So good. So good. God,
anyway,
and we're shitting on him. Fuck you guys.
It's time.
It's not time.
It's
all
time.
I'm trying to say, I guess.
It's not time.
Matt LaFleur does not believe in a workhorse running back. He had Derrick Henry on his squad down when he was offensive coordinator in Tennessee. He still gave 40% of the carries to Dion Lewis.
It was stupid.
So all I'm trying to say is he doesn't believe in a workhorse running back.
Good point. What's his ADP?
He's like RB10, RB11, somewhere in there, maybe 12.
No chance. No chance.
Not doing it, man.
He's going to finish RB18.
11. He's going before Isaiah Pacheco and James Cook and Rachaad White, all of which I'm okay with. Maybe not Pacheco, but the other ones, yeah.
If I'm taking a running back in that
rather have James Cook.
If I'm taking a running back in that range, his name's going to be Derrick Henry. Otherwise, I'm not taking one until Joe Mixon comes up. That's what it is.
Okay. I'd rather have Joe Mixon.
Who are they going to use to take carries from him, though? I mean, even AJ Dillon's numbers a bit.
They'll use anybody. That's what he's telling you about Matt LaFleur. They'll use anybody.
They love Marshawn Lloyd, man. I pay attention to the Packers, obviously, right? Marshawn Lloyd, they wanted him. They got him. They're going to use – all the reports right now are that when they're in I form or they're running a pro style or anything like that in the backfield, A.J. Dillon's going to be the fullback. He ain't getting the ball. Okay, A.J. Dillon's going to block.
That's good.
It's going to be Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd. Now, the only way that I could see Jacobs becoming a workhorse is, one, if he comes out and he looks like he did 2 years ago, and number two, if Marshawn Lloyd's fumble problems that he had in college, because he fumbled the ball a kind of a high amount in college, 9 times over like 400 carries or something, which is not great. If he starts doing that, he ain't going to be playing, and you're going to see Josh Jacobs run away with it. But that's a big if. You know what I mean? So I like Marshawn Lloyd. I think he's talented. And like I've been saying all offseason, there's a lot of people that thought he might have been the best back in the draft. So he could come in and start eating away at that workload if he plays well. But there's an argument to be made that it could go the other way. I just don't like that risk.
Let me ask before we move on to wide receiver, Josh Jacobs or Joe Mixon?
Joe Mixon.
At the price, I want Joe Mixon.
Josh Jacobs or...
What if it's not at the price, though? What if it's just 1-1? I don't know if that situation happens, but what if it just comes down to you and you need a running back, those two are available? What do you pick?
I tend towards Joe Mixon. I think Josh Jacobs is the better.
I'm Joe Mixon, too.
I think Jacobs is the better running back, but I think Mixon's in a better situation.
Jacobs is going 5 running back spots ahead. He's going overall 23, where Mixon's going 46.
Yeah.
I don't want Josh Jacobs.
Twice as late. Yeah, Josh Jacobs or Alvin Kamara?
Jacobs in that situation. Alvin Kamara's over the hill.
Interesting. Kamara and Mixon are going back to back. Yeah, Jacobs is going 20 picks ahead of both.
Interesting. Yeah, I love Mixon so much more than Kamara, but Kamara and Jacobs are a lot closer, and I'd have to be in front of that situation to make that call because I'm sitting here trying like Kamara, but I'm like,
The
do I want anything in New Orleans? But do I want a running back in Green Bay? Fuck no.
The case for Kamara.
Alvin Kamara is 29.
The case for Alvin Kamara is his passing work. His running efficiency has completely fallen off the cliff. Their offensive line, they already lost their best tackle. Okay,
Yeah,
they already lost
tough.
him for the whole year.
That's tough.
Okay, one more. This one's got some direct correlation. Josh Jacobs or Aaron Jones.
Josh Jacobs.
I want Josh Jacobs in that scenario.
Yeah, because you don't want. Okay, so the argument that we had in
I'm wearing
Detroit
the jersey.
Yeah, David Montgomery over who was who did we mention earlier?
Zamir White, Ramondre.
No, not was it Najee?
Najee. We said
it was
Najee.
the points, just because of the amount of points they're going to score. Green Bay is going to score points, Minnesota's not.
No,
and anyone who is going to score in Minnesota is named Justin Jefferson.
Well, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Aaron Jones are going back to back running backs, and Josh Jacobs is going 20 picks ahead of all of them.
If I got
he
nobody,
should be ahead of some of them. I don't want him.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is a top 15 back. I just don't want to take him where he's going. That's what it is. You know.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So if we're
Let's
talking
about
Josh Jacobs, receivers,
so much time on Josh.
Let's get out of running backs.
I got some juicy intel on the wide receivers in Green Bay. I think I talked about it earlier this year.
But it's not biased at all.
It's not biased.
Sorry.
It's not. It's really not. I'm going to give you the facts.
Because Patrick was there.
Nah, man. I've been reading the tea leaves. Now, all I'm trying to say is Christian Watson, when you look at the numbers, Christian Watson, okay, when he was on the field last year, which albeit was not much, okay, because he was hurt a lot. He was hurt a lot, I'm admitting, has had hamstring problems his entire career. Obviously is a huge, fast wide receiver, great contested catch player, okay? I'm just telling the facts. You roll your eyes all you want, but that's what the...
It sound like opinions.
Yeah, anyway, you haven't hit us with any facts yet, dog.
EFF, you can look it up. Look at his contested catch.
There's a really swell guy, and that's a fact.
Nope. Okay. However, if you look at his target rate when he's on the field and healthy, he was the wide receiver number 1. Okay, so don't be taking Jaden Reed over him. He's still the wide receiver 1 when he's healthy in that room.
Yeah, I think fantasy-wise he is, yeah.
Number
Jaden
2
Reed's going way ahead of him in drafts.
Exactly. Would not do that. I like Jaden Reed. Okay, Christian Watson is the wide receiver 1 when he's on the field. Now, the entire offseason has been dedicated to him having rehab sessions and rebalancing the muscle mass between his 2 legs. He went and saw a specialist at the early offseason, found out that he had a big imbalance between his 2 legs and the hamstring muscle mass. Been working on it all offseason. Now, imagine a world where that guy can run top speed for 17 weeks, not pull a hamstring, and then tell me what he's going to do for fantasy football.
Well, I'd have to imagine it because it's never happened.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. But if there's a chance that it could happen, it would be the year that he actually went and tried to figure it out.
I'll give you that.
This doesn't help him in contrast to Jaden Reed, but I am seeing that the Packers have the second easiest schedule for wide receivers slated too.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's going to be a train wreck on defense. Chicago has 1 good corner, but they don't have much more than that. Detroit's the best secondary in the division outside of Green Bay to me.
And their secondary isn't the best part of that team by a long shot.
Not on the outside. In the inside,
that's what I'm saying.
They are, but yeah. And where does Christian Watson play on the outside? So,
yep, you're right. He's a burner.
I'm just saying you could see a very good year out of Christian Watson. I like where he's going at his price right now. I think he's a huge value. I love getting him as like my 3rd, 4th wide receiver.
I would like to know how high Jade Reed is going.
Wide receiver 31, roughly 76 overall. So what's that? Like the 6th round into the 6th round?
One of these receivers in Green Bay is going to have a fantasy changing season for someone in our league because none of them are going that high. And I wonder who it's going to be. I think my money's got to be on Christian Watson.
Nobody's mentioned Romeo Doubs yet. Any opinions on that, Patrick? Because he's not too far below.
Romeo Doubs is going to lose his job to Dontavian Wicks. Matt LaFleur is in love with Dontavian Wicks, has called him a young Devontae Adams. The man has done nothing but show out all offseason, proved himself last year. He's going to be mixing in as the 3rd guy. Doubs is not going to get as many looks this year.
If Green Bay's offense is to be believed like it is around the league, then there's going to be someone in our championship game with a Green Bay wide receiver on their team, and they'll be there because of that Green Bay wide receiver.
Yeah, very, very, very possible. I don't hear what I'm not saying either. I also like Jaden Reed. Clearly, I'm biased. I like Jaden Reed. I think he's a good route runner. When you see a rookie wide receiver break out and have the year that he did, he ain't losing work. They're still going to throw him the ball. And you also got to remember they love to involve him in the running game too. They ran him on end of rounds. He had like 3-4 rushing touchdowns last year. They're using him in a kind of like small way, like they use Debo out in San Fran. You also got to remember that LaFleur is an acolyte apprentice of Mr. Shanahan. And they like using Jaden Reed in that Debo role. That's very much the role he plays in that offense.
Interesting stuff.
So there's added upside for him there, and the fact that he could get 1 or 2 more touches a game because of that.
I think we could argue that the receiver room in Green Bay is the most interesting fantasy relevant room of everyone we're going to talk about in the North. It's there's going to be a monster in there somewhere, and I don't think there's going to be a couple good guys. I think there's going to be a monster, and I don't know who it is.
I believe it's Christian Watson, but I would not be surprised if it's Jaden Reed. He's a very good receiver.
Interesting.
And Madden thought so too, because they elevated that man real quickly. But anyway, I mean, Dontavian Wicks, if you get
almost good.
Late, he was fantastic. Don't lie to yourself. Anyway, real
late.
The
third best receiver in the division, though.
Real late in the draft. Dontavian Wicks is a great sleeper. Dontavian Wicks is a big-bodied wide receiver that played very well for them down the stretch. If you're going late and everything else around you says, Dontavian Wicks isn't the worst pick in the world to make as like your 6th guy. Saying.
Yeah, I think a wide receiver out of Green Bay is probably a good thing to do.
Good flyer.
Yeah.
Not really any tight ends worth talking about.
No, they're not gonna. Right? They're not gonna make an impact. Nope. They're gonna make an impact on the team, but not.
Yeah, but not in what we give a shit about.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Bears.
The Bears.
Caleb
Williams is not going to be on a team, right? Well, I mean, he'll be on Austin's team, but like, not for any reasons.
He's right on the edge.
He should be a starter on a team, but I think he should definitely be a depth piece in case something weird happens and all the hype maybe is true. Because you don't want that to be a waiver pick. Somebody pick it up.
This is the thing you have to consider. CJ Stroud last year had one of the best rookie seasons that we've seen a quarterback have in some time.
Yeah.
He finished as like the QB 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
and he had a historic year.
He had a great year. He threw like 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns. Maybe he had like 5 to 6 interceptions, something like that. Jay can look up the stats, but it was something like that. Caleb Williams literally has to do that to make him worth picking. And do I think he's going to do that in Chicago? He could. He has great weapons. I just don't know if you have as good of a system around me, and I do not think he's as good as CJ Stroud is.
Are you calling him a bust? Is this official, or is this just you making a bold claim because it's exciting?
This is about Chicago, not Caleb Williams.
He doesn't like Chicago, and he's going to bet on history and them getting it wrong.
They have never, ever built a quarterback, ever.
And they do.
Yeah, they are due. It's been 40 years.
There's the reason we joke about that phrase. They are due. And I'm not putting money on it.
Do.
I'm not putting money on it. I can't put money on.
You heard me wrong. I said they are do.
The last one they had was named Jay Cutler, and he was average at best.
Well, and he was talented as all hell. He was talented as all hell. He was worse because he was in Chicago.
The only reason that man was ever good was because their defense in those years was otherworldly. That's the only reason they succeeded. He pissed every game, every close game there was against Green Bay. I think
you're confusing Jay Cutler even for their defense when they had Rex Grossman, because that defense was amazing. The Jay Cutler defenses weren't good.
They had some years where they were good. There was a year when Jay Cutler was there, absolutely. There was a year when Jay Cutler was there, and they went to the NFC Championship game, and I kept telling my buddy that year, just wait. Because it was a close game the whole game. I was like, just wait. Third, fourth quarter.
Jay Cutler was in an NFC Championship game?
Yes. When the year the Packers won the Super Bowl.
That's news to me. Are you
almost
sure?
Positive it was either him or Grossman. I'm pretty sure it was Cutler.
I think it wasn't Jay Cutler. I'm certain it wasn't Jay Cutler, because that implies Jay Cutler won a playoff game.
Look it up, Jake.
Well, give me the year, and I'll keep working
It's
on
like
it.
08, 09.
The year the Packers won the Super Bowl?
It was 08 or 09, yeah.
All right, keep
Or no,
chatting.
2010. 2010.
Yeah, I was living in Arlington when the Packers beat the
2011, so
Steelers,
the
by the way,
2010
in
season.
Arlington.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a sophomore in college. That's why I was 2010. Yeah. We watched the NFC Championship game at work because nobody
Jay
came
Cutler
in.
had one playoff win in his career.
Okay, so I was wrong. It was Grossman. But anyway, anytime that the game was close and they were playing the Packers and somebody was worried, I'd always turn them and be like, guys, just wait.
Don't worry, they got Jay Cutler out
He's
there.
gonna fuck this
How
game
dare
away.
you?
And guess
How
what he
dare
did? Every single time.
No, in
he
spite
fucked it
of
away.
that franchise, he did good things. Okay, they
He
tore
would-
him down.
he would-
Smoking Jay was going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks this league's ever seen, but
He
they
was
sent him
awful.
to Chicago.
He choked harder than Kirk Cousins chokes every time he was on.
No, Chicago choked it, and that's why Caleb Williams won't be good.
He was terrible.
Jay Cutler's best years were in Denver. He was a bum in Chicago.
He's not good. So anyway, Caleb Williams has a chance to actually be a good quarterback.
I'm not here for Jay Cutler
They've
slander.
built the team. They've built the team to support him more than almost any rookie has come into the league and had a supporting cast around him.
That is true.
And ready for
That is
success. True. They've done that for him.
I think Caleb Williams earns a draft spot on somewhere in the league. Yeah, for hype, for the sake that like the mindset that you got to be drafting young people that haven't done it yet if you really want to have surprise players. Otherwise, you just draft the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Daniels.
Fucking yes, thank you. There's there's always a rookie quarterback to draft, and it's not one who's built like Caleb Williams. Yeah, you didn't draft Andrew Luck when he got drafted either. You took RG3, and it won you a league.
They're going almost side by side in drafts, so the overall consensus is a little different.
The answer is Jay.
Yeah, and half those people are going to be wrong.
Jay Daniels,
which doesn't really mean anything right now because we don't know which half.
I do. You take the runner.
I know you feel like you do, but
history says you do.
The other half says otherwise. So that's kind of the whole thing we're talking about. It's 50-50.
For Caleb Williams to make you happy, he's going to have to
everyone
break.
Should be allowed to vote because it is 50-50.
Because people feel differently than you do.
No, because they're wrong.
All right, let's get back to Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams is going to do it and make you happy this year, he's got to throw 4,030. And with the receiving cast that he has, could he do it? Maybe. Do I think the percentage is high? No, I don't think so. I think you got like a 5% chance. Yep. You got to remember
if he was in the NFC, what is it, with the Bucks and all those shit ass teams, maybe I feel a little different. But he is going against the Packers. He is going against the
and let's say what if he was in Detroit and he played in the Dome? They play in Chicago outside.
Yeah. I think that ball's going to be real cold for a lot of them in the second half of the season games.
No, I'm out.
And here's the thing, too, though. I'm pretty sure. I think I said this was the case with Seattle, but I think it's actually the case for Chicago that they either brought in Washington's offensive coordinator, or it's either Washington's offensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator for Seattle, who is used to running 3 wide receiver sets. And running an offense that way. And obviously, if you're coming in and you can do that and you can run DJ Moore out there, you can have Keenan Allen underneath, and Rome Odunze is who we think he is and who he was in college. You don't have to be that good at quarterback when you're throwing the ball to those 3 guys because they're gonna be somebody open every play. Cole Kmet had a great year last year. I think he's a solid tight end. I don't think you have a superstar running back, and I don't think you have the best offensive line in the world, but you have depth at running back, more so than a lot of teams. You have 3 solid guys there in Swift, Herbert, and Roschon. So I think they're going to be a middle of the pack offense. That's what I think. I think they're going to be right around 15, 16. They're going to be solid. I think there's going to be one of the wide receivers that you want. I don't think you want any of the running backs. That's what I think.
They win more or less than 6.5 games?
I think they can get to 7-8 wins. I think so.
Yeah, I think they can get to 7-8 wins.
I'd probably bet on that.
I wouldn't put money on that. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it.
Depends what the odds are. If they're giving me good odds, I'll throw a 50 at it and see what happens.
So,
but anyway,
the running backs on this team are barely even worth talking about. They are a little bit, but like barely.
So let's not.
I have not taken a single Chicago running back other than Roshan super late in any best ball drafts all summer long. I do not believe in DeAndre Swift. He never did it in Detroit. He only did it in Philly because they had the best offensive line, maybe one of the best in history. And I mean, they're great.
They were really good.
Fantastic.
Best in history.
They're up there. They're up there. They're one of the best of this generation for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that.
The guys that you had there. You know, and so I don't
They're definitely one of the best in the last 3 years.
Yeah. I think in the last 10 years, you have to argue that they're one of the better offensive lines. But anyway, so anyhow, I don't want them. Maybe you take one late and hope that DeAndre gets hurt and you could throw a Roshan in there as a depth piece. I might do that, but there's other guys back there that I might rather have. I don't think they're worth talking about. I wouldn't take them. DeAndre is going in the 20s. There's better guys there. Take Jalen Warren. Okay. Don't take DeAndre Swift. Wide receivers. DJ Moore. Love him if you can get him as a wide receiver too. Or
how high does DJ Moore go?
It's in the teams.
DJ Moore is going wide receiver 17, 40 overall. So middle of the fourth.
Man, that feels like a good deal.
Rather have
fourth round DJ Moore. You're not getting Mike Evans in the fourth round.
Mike Evans is right next to him.
But the end of the third, he's right next to him wide receivers, but he's about 7 picks, so about half a round earlier overall.
Yeah, okay.
I would rather most likely I would rather go Mike Evans, Malik Neighbors if I'm that turn. That's what I would rather do.
I would rather have DJ Moore than Malik Neighbors, but I'm gonna put that out right now.
I want Malik Neighbors because he's gonna get 130 targets.
One of them's got Caleb Williams, one of them's got Danny Jones.
Doesn't matter if you get more targets.
This is a hypothetical, so forgive me if it's annoying. But if Brandon Ayuk go to, you can disregard that, Patrick. If Brandon Ayuk does go to Cleveland, him or Brandon Ayuk.
If Brandon Ayuk goes to Cleveland, he's still gonna be fighting Judy and Cooper out there. I don't think
he won't be fighting Judy. He'll be fighting Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper had a great rapport with Deshaun Watson.
And Deshaun's not good.
He might be better this year. We'll see. We'll see. The only one that he built any rapport with when he was playing terribly was Amari Cooper, because Amari Cooper is great, and I don't think he's lost it.
Amari Cooper is quarterback proof.
I think if Ayuk goes out there, he's still only the wide receiver too. I don't think his situation gets necessarily better. I think.
Okay, so would you rather have him in that position, or would you rather have the DJ Moore?
I would rather have DJ Moore.
That's a tough decision. It's a coin flip to me. Okay,
it's close, but DJ Moore.
If Keenan Allen's healthy all year, he's going to be robbing a whole lot of targets because he's the most quarterback-friendly receiver there is in the league, potentially.
Well, if Ayuk stays in San Francisco, who would you rather? Does it change anything?
Not really. They're a coin flip either way. I'm not mad at having either one. Okay. It's whoever's there, really, for me. I really like Malik Neighbors, though, to be honest with you.
So where's Keenan Allen go?
Keenan Allen's going a little bit later. 20s, I think. Late 20s. Something like that.
I want to hear some.
He's wide receiver 32. He's going beginning of 6th round.
That's insane.
You got to believe
the wide receiver 5 last year.
You got to believe for a rookie quarterback having a guy like that who's going to be open.
He was on a bad team, and he was the wide receiver 5 last year.
Yeah, but enter argument you made earlier about Chicago. Also, he's a year older. Also, it's a new playbook.
Also,
I'm not saying he's the wide receiver 5, but
I think Keenan Allen
30?
Wide receiver 32. He's going behind Terry McLaurin.
Do we believe that he drops 22 spots?
No, absolutely not. He's a great value.
Spots? Can you math?
Great value. Huge value at that spot.
Not a numbers guy.
Yeah, that's why we got Jake.
Sorry.
Anyway, Keenan Allen is a huge value. If you get him back there, I think he's going to be great for you. He's going to get targets because you got a rookie quarterback that wants to keep his job and start his career off on a positive note.
And you do that by getting the ball to Keenan Allen.
That man's open on a curl. That man's open on a comeback. That man's open on an in or an out route on almost every single play. He's got great hands. He knows how to win.
Keenan Allen's going almost back-to-back with Jaden Reed that we mentioned earlier, which is that is shocking to me.
That's nuts.
I think there's more upside with Jaden Reed because he's an ascending player, and we know.
No, but the floor.
is much
You
higher.
can't miss with Keenan Allen, right?
Yeah,
as long as he's healthy.
Do you remember how I got
can't.
forced into Keenan Allen last year? I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys are making me do this.
Almost helped you overcome Nick Chubb with how good he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, Keenan Allen is great. I try to get Keenan Allen if he falls there in best ball drafts because he's a target monster. You got DJ Moore DJ Moore to me is the one, but it's not that far between him and Keenan Allen still.
I agree. It's a great one too. That's a great one too.
One of the best in the league. I don't think it's the best, but it's one of the better ones.
Nah, because it's Chicago.
Well, and then right behind him, you got the brand new flashing star too. So there's 3 names to talk about.
To me, he's going to have a JSN type rookie year. It's going to be solid, not good, not great. That's what I think.
I think that's a great comparison, and it's not because he's not good.
Yeah, there's 2 other monsters.
What do you do?
Yeah.
They just gave DJ Moore $72 million.
Yeah, they're throwing the ball to DJ Moore and Keenan Allen.
They are throwing that ball to DJ Moore. Follow the money.
If you find a good matchup and you need a tight end, throw Cole Kmet in there because he proved last year he can catch touchdowns.
I think Cole Kmet's numbers go way down.
I think so too, but there's worse guys you could have if you're hunting for waiver tight ends because he is talented.
Good waiver tight end. Good waiver tight end. Shouldn't be drafted.
No. Him and Freiermuth to me are 2 of the better waiver tight ends if you're looking for a guy this year.
Interesting.
They're right next to each other too.
I believe in Kmet more, but yeah, okay.
I think it's in better offense, but Arthur Smith does love his tight ends though. Anyway,
Kmet is just a different name for Pat Freiermuth as far as I'm concerned.
They're about the same type of guy.
Talk about them all you want, they're going to disappoint.
I think Cole Kmet's quite a bit more athletic than Pat Freiermuth.
As far as what they're bringing to the fantasy table, they're 2 sides.
It just gives them a higher ceiling, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't need them. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Vikings. Right?
My hands look huge. What the fuck?
You don't want any quarterback in Minnesota this year because neither one of them is going to play the whole year, and it ain't going to be pretty. Don't do it unless J.J. McCarthy somehow comes out in week 7, and then in week 7, 8, 9 lights the world on fire and shows you that he's got something and he's actually a good quarterback in the NFL. Don't draft him. They're both waiver wire guys. Maybe Sam Darnold does some weird thing like he did in Carolina and he was running in touchdowns.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about the quarterbacks in Minnesota. No. Not here.
We should talk about Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, I think, is explosive. If you get him as your RB3, great. Do not rely on him as one of your starters every week. He's old, has trouble staying healthy.
He's the reason I didn't win the league last year.
He is one of the better still, even at his age. He's still one of the better pass-catching running backs in the league. The man with the ball in his hand in the open field is still very dangerous when he's healthy. He showed that at the end of last year with fresh legs.
It's true, but if you got Bradford,
right after the fantasy season was over, you're right. He did. He did show that.
If you got Bradford showing up behind center every week, though, they're gonna have a lot of people in that box. They're gonna make him throw it, and Aaron Jones is gonna get eaten fucking live.
You meant to say Sam Darnold, but yeah, he's basically the same thing.
There's not gonna be a whole lot of loaded boxes with JJ out there. You just can't do that.
Nope.
Yeah. So.
But when Hawk comes back, it'll loosen up a lot. I think Aaron Jones has a really slow start to the year because of Sam Darnold and Hawk and Sauce not being there.
You also, you can't load the box and put JJ in single coverage because the man's catch radius is the largest in the league.
Aaron Jones might turn some attention people's way when the fantasy playoffs start getting decided. Not when we're in the playoffs, so to speak, but that last month to get us into it. I think Aaron Jones might have a big say and somebody swinging in.
There has been some talk this offseason in Minnesota that they're going to run a 1A, 1B system with him and Tyson Chandler because they liked what Tyson Chandler did at the end of last year in Minnesota.
It was not very exciting.
When Alexander Madison was completely busting all over the place and being terrible and not catching passes and costing people free touchdowns until we booted him off our team. Tyson Chandler was actually playing pretty well for them. They don't want to see Aaron Jones get hurt. I think you're going to see him take at least maybe 20% of the work up there. So, I think we know who Tyson Chandler is. if you want to take him super late as a handcuff because they don't have anybody else, you could do that. But he's not one of the better handcuffs to take. You could take other guys, Trey Benson, Marshawn Lloyd. There's a lot of other guys other than Chandler.
Do you think Aaron Jones still has a role to play in the receiving back game?
100%. You got two quarterbacks
who's good at it.
Well, you got one that sees ghosts and is going to dump the ball off immediately, and then you got a rookie quarterback who is not ready yet. So,
and he's going to want to dump that ball off immediately.
Yeah, so that's Aaron Jones time.
Yeah.
You know,
I do think he could have some, especially some garbage time points that really help out some people.
He is going on back-to-back seasons with only 2 touchdowns.
He was hurt all last year.
Yeah, last year's, and I don't want to pull too much attention back into it because I've already bitched a lot enough about it. But like, you guys remember, he got that hammy, and then just didn't go.
Tore the roof up, beat the shit out of Chicago, broke all Chicago's heart.
Shit out of Chicago, and then was just kind of ready for 2 months. And him being kind of ready was like, guys, I'm not gonna go. He suited up 5 times and didn't play a snap.
It almost cost the team the season because we needed him when Jordan Love was figuring it out, and we didn't have him. And they luckily got it together and squeaked into the playoffs just to beat Dallas. Anyway, let's talk about JJ the Jetson. He, with any type of good quarterback play, is the clear wide receiver 1. He doesn't have that this year, so I don't think you can take him there. But he's still going to be a top 5 wide receiver.
He lit up the world with Josh Dotson, even. Am I getting that name right? Josh Dobbs. Thank you. Sorry. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm fucking that up.
Astronaut.
Yeah.
Smartest quarterback to ever play.
Man, that hype came and went in about 10 days.
You're supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, they saw the
JJ
film.
Still goes in the first round.
Long enough for us to see pictures of his parents in the stands, and then, gone.
God, what an ugly man that was.
JJ to me is wide receiver 5 this year. It's Reek, CeeDee, Jamar, Amon-Ra, then JJ. That's what I think.
I actually still like him more than Jamar, but he's number 4 for me.
I don't. I think Joe Burrow is going to light the world on fire this year. That's what I believe.
He might. You saw that blonde hair.
Change the hair color. He's ready to go, man. Guess who's back? Burrow's back. Tell a friend. What's up? We had to do it. Anyway. Yeah, man. So JJ, we know what he is. He's the best wide receiver in the game, not named Devontae Adams.
Do you think there's any chance, assuming Brant is at the end of the first round, because we all know he's a diehard Vikings fan?
No chance he gets to the end of the first round.
Do you think he makes it to pick 7 or 8?
Yes.
Chance he makes it to pick 7.
Yeah, okay. He won't make it to pick 9.
If he's at pick 7, he's getting taken, unless it's you sitting there and you bite on Bijan. But
Bijan gone by then.
Because if he falls to 9, that means somebody got taken ahead of him. That's either AJ Brown or Jahmyr Gibbs or somewhere in that range.
And that is not acceptable.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Our league drafts running backs very heavily in the first round. It always has, probably always will.
So, and it probably will take, I think, what do you think, 4 running backs go?
I think 5, probably.
Okay. And that's not enough to get
JJ. You mean in the first round? Or ahead
of the first round? In the first round. Okay. In the first round. Not necessarily ahead of him in the first round.
Christian, Bijan, Brees,
Jahmyr.
And then on the very edge, you got 3 names that are Jahmyr, Saquon, and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Only ones that might go in the first round.
I like Derrick Henry more than Jahmyr.
After the first 3, I like Jahmyr. After the first 3, I like Derrick Henry the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going.
Yeah. I do agree on that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's the math.
There's the prior year math that I got shit for bringing up earlier, though. It's a different year.
There are some people that are different in those bell curves. There are some
people that are
different. He's one of them.
When you are that age and you're 250 pounds and you run that fast and you get hit in the knees, you got to break down a little quicker than some other ones. And the fact that he made it to 30 is already surprising. If he falls off, go ahead. Sorry.
I was interrupting you, so you can finish.
You're good. All I'm saying is if he falls off this year, week 2, week 3, week 4, people are like, oh my God, where's Derrick Henry? I'm not surprised.
I'd be surprised.
I would be surprised.
I'd be so surprised.
Okay, let me throw some stats at you about Derrick Henry and him finishing the year healthy last year, because he did. Okay, number one in rushing attempts in the regular season, Number 2 in rushing yards. Number 10 in breakaway.
That's a big one.
Breakaway
Number 2 in
run
rushing
rate.
yards.
Number 10 in breakaway run rate, and I think he was top 15 in yards after contact as well. Man still got it. Played a terrible team.
Josh Jacobs had almost all of those numbers the year prior, and we all hate him.
He's not Derrick Henry.
I don't think those two are the same. Are the same horse?
They're not even the same species.
Not the same horse, but the stats are about the same.
Yeah, but this is why we talk about individuals, though. And Derrick Henry is one of those people that is different to that curve. To my
Derrick Henry is
has been. He definitely has been.
Yeah,
I just don't think he will be.
I think Nick Chubb is different too, which is why I believe in him coming back from that injury and being a monster.
He's already squat. There was also reports. Also,
we can't get locked into this right now. No, I'm going to start sweating again.
We were talking about the squats, right? And then we all said, "Well, is he running yet?" Okay. About a week after that, there's a report that came out of him running and cutting, and the GM standing out there watching the practice, beaming from ear to ear.
Yeah,
huge smile. That tells me that Nick Chubb is going to be right. And
I'm telling you, Nick Chubb needs to get like into those first 2 rounds, or y'all are fucking up.
Week 5, Nick Chubb gonna light the world on fire. He's gonna be on the pup. He's gonna be on the pup because they're gonna be safe.
He's gonna be on my team.
He ain't playing the first 4 weeks, but he'll be there.
Doesn't matter because I haven't missed
you drafted him in the 5th round.
I hope I'm in front of. Oh wow! You'd go ahead and reach on that. I don't want it.
4th round, Nick
Chubb.
Running backs. Let's say some names real quick on that.
Running backs are going to be terrible.
People going prior to the end,
and then
of
you're
going to
get Nick Chubb when half of them are injured by then.
I don't care. You're going to be 0-4.
I'm not going to be 0-4.
Yeah, you will.
No.
Cody's going to be the fucking toilet.
Come on, dog.
Come on. Anyway,
JJ, I bet you $50.
Nick Chubb or James Cook?
Nick Chubb.
James Cook. Oh my God.
Nick Chubb or Kenneth Walker?
Nick Chubb.
This guy's out of his mind.
Got it. Come on. Next one on the list. Let's go.
Out of your fucking mind.
Send it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Joe Mixon. Because he's going the back end of the 4th round.
Joe Mixon.
That's your 46. That's who you're going to be looking at the end of the 4th round.
That's it sucks. Because here's the deal. In week 6, who do I want on my team? Joe Mixon or Nick Chubb? The answer is Nick Chubb, but we have to draft it before week 1.
You don't have to take him there. It's stupid.
Nick Chubb. Got it.
You're go. I hope
give me another name.
I hope you do that, and somebody falls to me.
Another name that's ahead of him.
Yeah, give me another one.
Raheem Mostert.
Nick Chubb. There you go.
James Conner.
Nick Chubb.
Raheem Mostert. I would not be mad at you.
You're tripping, though. Aaron Jones.
I'm starting to trip. Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. There you go.
David Montgomery.
He's just talking shit. Now.
No, come on. Let's see where the line is.
So wait. So let's make it relevant to the episode.
Let's rank
the running backs in the NFC North and Nick Chubb, 1 through 5.
All of them in the NFC
starting
North.
Ones. Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs,
number 1. Okay.
Say Nick Chubb.
Is it Nick Chubb next?
Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb. There it is. There it is. That's
you're out of your mind, sir.
You think Josh Jacobs above Nick Chubb?
Yeah. I'm bailing out of this conversation right now.
I'm taking Josh Jacobs before I'm taking Nick Chubb. And I'm not like
anyone in Chicago above Nick Chubb? No.
There's still a chance.
That one I'll give you.
Yeah. Oh, Nick Chubb is ahead of those guys, 100%.
Yeah.
But not the other ones.
The other 3 teams starting running back.
I said it. I believe in it.
All right. Now we should end on that one because it's clearly gone to shit.
You got to talk a little bit about the other guys because Jordan
What do you
Addison.
think the odds of Nick Chubb finishing
at
the end of the season?
Yeah, why are we still
Nick
talking
Chubb
about Nick
finishing as a higher running back fantasy value wise in the entire season than anyone on the Green Bay or Minnesota roster?
I think it's very small.
And Jones over Chubb.
Okay, first of all, he's missing 4 of the games. Second of all, he ain't going to come back and get it all right away. They're going to ease him in because they won't, dude. It's never they won't. Okay, I haven't seen it happen with any running back coming from that type of injury. I know he's different. It's not going to happen. The first time he's getting 80% of the carries is like week 7. At best.
He'll get one body, and this man has had some shit happen to the things that made his career.
Look, the time's ticking. They say
the time's
ticking. Let's give it to Chubb. That's what I said. That's what I said. I believe in it. I'm not even doing this for character reasons. I believe in that.
I think if you get him in the 7th round, he's a value. If you take him in the 4th round, I'm going to laugh at you.
Give me.
If I get Nick Chubb in the 7th round, you're all in trouble.
Cody, I'm not going to hold you ass to the flame too close because we're going to miss some time. But like, how many yards? How many yards does Chubb get?
I can't. No, I don't know.
I'm not holding you to it.
I don't really have a good idea of like what running backs get for us. I can do it comparatively to other ones, but not.
Well, think of it in the sake that if he misses 4 games, there's going to be 13 games he's eligible for. Assuming he plays all of them, and you think he's going to get 100 yards a game, that's 1,300 yards.
Yeah, I think you can count on 1,100 yards. Count on 1,100
with
yards
him missing 4 games.
With him missing 4 games.
Wow,
800 yards.
I think 830.
Book 1,000 for Nick Chubb, easy. What's the over under Nick Chubb?
$100. $100 says you're going to get 1,000 rushing
what
yards.
Odds can I get in Vegas for Nick Chubb getting 1,000 yards?
You got odds right here.
That's where I want to put some money on.
Giving you $100.
You're giving me okay. Sorry, I didn't listen to you. I apologize for that. What are the odds you're giving me? Nick Chubb,
not really odds, just a wager. $100. You're going to get 1,000.
I don't want it even because you're saying there's no way. So you're saying I can get 3-1?
This guy's just.
You're saying it's a lock, so we're on 2 sides of the same fence.
That's true. Counterpoint.
That's true.
Counter to the counter.
$100.
I want to know. You got some computers in front of you. I want to know what are the odds of him getting 1,000 yards?
And then, for the love of God, let's finish this podcast.
Jesus, we're talking about Nick Chubb.
All the important shit's done. If you want to sign off, sign off. Okay, if you want to be here for the fun, be
I
here
like
for
the
fun.
people needed us to tell them real that. Quick. They know we're done.
All right, let me cut in.
Patrick needed us to say it, apparently.
Let me cut in for 1 second while you're looking this up.
Okay.
No, I'm going to. Jordan Addison, suspended. Okay, he's going to be a value. Don't take him right away. If he's falling down there around like the Xavier Worthy range and you want to take a shot because you like him and you think J.J. McCarthy might be good, do it. I don't really want him because of his suspension.
I actually have a question about this too. TJ Hawkinson, do you think he's draftable or do you think he'll be available on a waiver?
He should be on the waiver. Right now, he's the tight end like 16. He ain't right. He's not right. He's not.
Do you think you could stash him like at the end of the draft?
You could take him, put him in your IR. You could do that.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think?
I think you're burning a pick a little bit doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, aren't they all kind of burnt picks down there? Especially since you have an IR spot.
No,
like you take him in the. Well, what I'm telling you is like if you took him in the last round of the draft and immediately went to IR with him and then just wavered the next guy, like don't you think that's kind of prudent?
14, 15, sure.
All right, tell me, you got Vegas over there, Wilson?
Not for 1,000 yards. There's odds for things like most yards in the season. So,
that sucks.
But I will tell you, he's only finished under 1,000 yards in his career twice, and once was his rookie year where he finished with 996, and the other one was last year with the injury.
Okay. However, how many games did he play in every single one of those years?
No, Patrick, I'm on your side. I'm saying this to get Cody to bet $100 and lose it.
Yeah, because he's going to lose it.
I want to take that bet to Vegas because it'll give me odds, and I think I'll win it.
So you're dodging the bet that's laid on the table in front
of you. On the evens, yeah, I'm dodging that bet.
Okay, so not a lock.
Because I get better odds in another house.
He's already taking a step back, ladies and gentlemen.
That's ridiculous.
If it's a lock, you would bet them both. That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
When we're in Vegas in September and he's about to come back, I'm gonna find a bookie that'll take that money. I'm gonna be so good.
If it's a lock,
you will find a bookie that'll take that money, and you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go spend that on a nice steak dinner because he knows he ain't paying it to you. Anyway,
nice steak dinner. Bookies eat chicken. Everybody knows that.
He's gonna go buy himself a nice 32-ounce porterhouse and call it a day. Anyway,
really nice.
Sounds great.
That sounds really nice.
Anyway,
that sounds really nice.
Get you some steak. There's places out there.
There are.
Anyway,
I'm gonna find them.
You guys work in one of them, so go get
one.
It's
called Costco.
Twisted's got a good steak. They're not bad.
No, they don't have bad cuts of steak. They have people that don't know how to fucking cook them.
That's real.
I disagree. Diego does a fantastic job.
Man of the company.
Next time I have him cook mine because mine was supposed to be mid-rare last time. It was medium well plus.
Yeah, you got another guy.
Company man over here. Plug for Twisted Fitness. Don't go to karaoke night unless one of these two men are singing. Otherwise, there's no reason to go to karaoke.
He's always singing. He did say Twisted Fitness. I love that.
That was a place.
I love Twisted Fitness.
That was a place that I used to train jiu-jitsu at. I used to train jiu-jitsu at a place like that in Madison.
Really?
So,
that's a good name, Twisted Fitness.
Anyway, Twisted Fish, same thing. Anyway,
get you a steak down at Twisted Fist.
Yeah.
Jake, entertainment. Me bitching about a guy not named Diego cooking my steak.
People, we're gonna probably talk about the NFC
Probably
South
Angel. He had a long day. He's usually good.
South.
But he puts another 40 in another restaurant too. Guys, I'm just saying it's hard, okay? The Vince don't always work.
Patrick, you have the mute option for us, by the way. You can turn that off anytime you want.
Anyway, we're gonna mute them up. They're both muted. I'm gonna make an announcement. Next week, we're talking about the NFC South, folks, because the ego of these two men will not allow them to talk about the Cowboys anything but last. So I'm sure that's what's going to happen. So NFC South next week, I'll bring them back in. God, was this a derailment? Hope you all listened. And here they are. Now they're back. I think you guys got to unmute yourselves.
I wasn't muted until you tried to unmute me.
No, you were muted. Nobody could hear anything you guys were saying that whole time.
That's true.
Anyway,
completely blanked.
Never been done in the history.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. I'm really hungry, and I've been told there's shrimp Alfredo on the way.
I got some college football things to do.
Yeah, Patrick, turn that share screen on if you don't